what traveling to 30 plus countries has taught me, and really, what does common sense really mean? Hi guys, I'm San Yu. I'm an expert in human potential and holistic transformation mentor for 6 to 8 figure business owners, CEOs, and high performers. What traveling to 30 plus countries all over the world has taught me about common sense and what's normal, what's not normal, our shoulds and musts, and the pressure that we hold in ourselves. Now, if you've traveled the world before, as I have, you will know that every country has a different norm, meaning everyone tells you what we do is normal. This is just how we do things. This is just how it's done. And it's quite funny because generally speaking, no one thinks about it's done like that here, and you might have a different way about it wherever you come from. It's more generally assumed wherever you go that this is just how things are done. And if you check in with yourself and your own thoughts and your own belief systems, there's a lot of thoughts going on that are just taken for granted, right? And so we call this dogma. Dogma is pretty much our belief system, our conditioning that has set itself in stone for us, that we've taken on by parenting, growing up, media, schooling, culture, language, countries, you name it, all the stuff that we get surrounded by when we grow up, and that becomes our norm. It becomes our dogma, our conditioning, our thinking, our everyday thoughts of what we need to do, what we should be doing, what we must do, what we can't do. And all of that leads to a pressure cooker inside, depending on how we operate. Now, if you are a high achiever, you're driven, you're purpose-driven, you would love to live more of who you are, you want freedom, you want to express yourself like I do, then you will know that there's a big drive inside, and sometimes you might want to do things differently to the norm, and you might be then ending up with a pressure cooker inside. And where that comes from is because you might have inspired thoughts. Yes, let's paint a picture. You come home from work, you've had a big day, you might not be very satisfied with how things have been going, and you feel distracted and you want things to be different. But then there's a thought kicking in, you can't change things, you should be just getting on with things. Maybe you just gotta keep on doing things the way they are and not complain about it. Right? Is that a thought that's familiar? Right. So that is dogma and conditioning. Exactly that. So it's the belief systems that we learn when we're little, where we might get told, do this now, and you might not be invited to go, how does that feel for you to do this now? Instead, you might have been told, get on with it, this is just how we need to do things. No one cares about how you feel about this right now. Correct? And so with that, we didn't necessarily get taught of how to tune in about our decision making. We might just assume we have to do something because it's always been like that. It's the common sense that we've taken on growing up in a specific country, in a specific household, under a specific frame of thought, right? And so that is so important to become really aware of, because when we follow suit in the conditioning without questioning it, without asking, why do I believe that? Who says that? Then we just take things for granted. We think things are common sense because we believe them a certain way. But what if someone else thinks about it completely differently? And this is where the problem comes in, and the struggles come in, and where discrepancies come in at work, in relationships, in teams, because everyone has a different type of common sense. And I hope you understand now why. Because people grow up in different ways, and that is not just in different countries, that can even just be in the same neighborhood, different houses, right? You can imagine so many different ways of how people operate, belief systems get formed, and so we form our inner reference system. And so we need to really get familiar with our own one. We need to ask ourselves, why do I think that when we tell ourselves we need to go to work right now and not 5 minutes later? Why do I believe that? Is that because I feel congruent with this belief? Or is this because someone told me I needed to do that way? Because all these beliefs that we run, you have to work really hard, You have to keep working, really, really, really hard. You got to show up at that, and you need to look like you're working hard in order to have success. Then you can see where that's all coming from. It's conditioning that you might have been hearing as you were growing up, but we need to start questioning it. And we need to let go what does no longer serve. We need to keep what's really in alignment with who we are, how we operate, our purpose, our integrity, our being tells us. And we'll be able to tell, because if you listen to our body, we'll always get messages. We get a strong contracted feeling when it comes from deep down, where we know it's not in alignment with our being, versus an opening when it is. We can feel neutral about something, we can feel okay about something, but if it's really against our being and how we roll and operate as a being, then we need to do something about how we do things so we can be more in flow, more in a creative open space with ourselves, more in integrity with ourselves, and live our life that way. That way we can unlock flow, alignment, fulfillment, purpose, wealth, impact, you name it, all the good stuff. So I invite you today to start being really curious with your thoughts as you take action throughout the day. Just be curious, don't judge it. And anytime when you think, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, ask yourself, why do I think that I need to do that? And who says that? And see if you can hear a voice in your inner ear and see, is it yourself really? Or is it someone's voice like your fathers, your mothers, your neighbors, your teachers that you were growing up with, that you have in your mind as if it was yourself? That will then teach you a lot about stepping back from other people's conditioning that you've been receiving all throughout your life and upbringing, and instead really figure out what is in alignment with myself. I invite you to have a bit of an exploration. Feel free to jump below and comment below and share your findings, share your experiences, share your questions and aha moments. Can't wait to hear from you. Wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.